The millionaire farmer's shocking past unveiled as the 18-year-old bride feels humiliation. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Beginning. From the moment Emma's car rolled down the dusty lane toward the sprawling Carter estate, something felt off. The giant farmhouse loomed like a cold monument, its windows dark and unwelcoming against the sinking sun. A heavy silence weighed on the air. No welcome cheers, no friendly waves. Just an eerie calm that made Emma's throat tighten and her hands tremble. She had dreamed of this day, marrying Jack Carter, the prosperous rancher whose wealth and name promised a new life filled with luxury and pride. But the whispers began almost immediately, like an invisible current flowing through the fields. "The Carter boy, he ain't like his pa," murmured a woman behind a white picket fence as Emma stepped out. The words hit like ice. Jack's jaw clenched tightly. The faintest flicker of shadow crossed his face. Emma felt suddenly exposed. Bright dress, makeup, and hope melting into an ocean of cold stares and hushed gossip. The town was small and cruel, eyes sharp like knives. In the local diner, the chatter died when she entered. At the market, hands paused and voices slid into silence. Emma learned fast. Jack's family story was a scandal sealed tight. His father, gone years ago under a cloud of disgrace no one dared name. People said Jack wrestled with demons from a past soaked in secrets and silent shame. But Emma had her own struggle. The vast, grand house was like a museum, perfect and lonely. The rooms echoed her footsteps. The fancy chandeliers cast cold lights on her isolation. One night, desperate for connection, Emma wandered into Jack's study. Among scattered papers, she found a small, dust-covered box. Her fingers shook as she lifted the lid and pulled out yellowed letters tied with a faded ribbon. Each one burned with raw emotion. Jack's own words from a rebellious youth. She read about defying his father's harsh rules, sneaking away to chase freedoms no one expected from a Carter heir. But deeper inside the letters lurked something darker, a secret, a shadow that haunted Jack, a whispered guilt, a loss never spoken aloud. As Emma's eyes flicked over each line, her chest tightened. The layers of Jack's life peeled back, revealing a man battling storms she had never seen. She felt both closer to him and farther from the hopeful dream she'd carried. Then the bad news came like a thunderclap. At dawn, a neighbor, an aged man with wary eyes, leaned close, voice shaky but sharp. "Jack's pa, he's back in town. Folks say he's come to stir up old ghosts. If he talks, the whole Carter name could crumble. You best be ready for what's coming." Emma's heart slammed. The perfect world she'd imagined shattered like glass at her feet. Whispered confrontations, chilling secrets, and a father's shadow growing longer in the twilight. The sprawling farmhouse suddenly felt more like a cage. What truth will come pouring out? How deep does the Carter scandal run? Emma's dreams are twisting into a strange new reality, one tangled in loyalty, love, and the deadly weight of the past. You need to watch this now, because trust me, You won't want to miss a single second of what's coming next. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important alert. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button down below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And since you're here, drop that powerful like that helps me so much with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love meeting every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. If you like stories about farmers, about everyday life on the farm, and want to know what really happens in the daily lives of the biggest farmers in the world, the hidden stories of the richest owners, and the secrets of the farm girls that the media doesn't reveal, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click on the first link in the video comments and get yours now. Chapter 2. The Father Returns. Emma's hands trembled as she clutched the fading ribbon around the letters. Her heart pounded, too loud, too fast. Jack's past was no longer some distant shadow. It felt like a storm, ready to explode right here, inside these walls. Just then, a sharp knock rattled the thick oak door. Emma jumped, breath catching in her throat. Not knocking, this was a slam. The door swung open, wide and sudden. There he stood, Jack's father, older than she imagined, but still fierce. His eyes burned like smoldering coals, cold and sharp. His coat was covered in dust, but his boots still carried the weight of the world. The man's voice cut through the silence like a whip. "Jack, it's time you face what you've been running from." The words hit Emma like a punch to the stomach. Jack appeared behind her, his face pale, jaw tight. He stepped forward, wary but holding his ground. "Dad, you're not welcome here." "Am I not? Funny. I smell a big secret hanging in this house. Secrets you locked away, but can't hide forever." The old man's eyes flicked toward Emma, lingering longer than she liked. "And who's this, your pretty bride?" Emma's throat went dry. The men's tension bristled like electricity. Then, without warning, the old man's gaze snapped back to Jack, and his voice dropped low, harsh and brutal. "Emma, before you keep dreaming about that clean, shiny life, know this. Jack's never been the man you think he is. He's carried a lie you'll never guess. A lie so dark it would break your heart." Emma's breath hitched. Jack's eyes flashed with something wild. Pain, fear, anger. Hard to tell. "Stop it! Don't say that!" But the old man's lips twisted into a bitter smile. "You want to know the real story? Not just the disgrace of a father, but the crime of a son?" Emma froze. Crime. The words screamed louder than the whisper of ghosts in the farmhouse. Jack took a step forward. "Dad, what are you talking about?" "Here's the truth they all hide from you," the old man hissed. "You weren't born the Carter son. You're a stranger to this land. A swap. A secret deal made behind closed doors. You were brought here to cover up a scandal bigger than any dirt in this town. The ground shifted beneath Emma's feet. Her chest squeezed tight, like someone pressed a fist over her heart. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "You're lying." But Jack's father leaned in, voice sharp as broken glass. "Check the hospital records. You're not who you claim, and neither is that pretty little smile you wear to hide it." Emma's world spun. Her gaze flicked to Jack, his face drained of color, the mask he wore cracking. The letters in her hand suddenly seemed like lies. Dreams she'd built. On sand. Then, from the hallway behind them, a woman's scream pierced the night. The house went deathly quiet. Jack's father's eyes narrowed. "That scream? Your mother. She's been here, waiting to reveal the truth that will burn this family to the ground." Emma's legs buckled. The farmhouse, once a dream, now felt like a tomb filled with secrets buried too deep to escape. Jack grabbed her arm, voice rough, almost broken. "If this is true, everything we know, everything we are, that was all a lie." Outside, the wind howled through the trees like a warning. And inside, Emma's hope shattered into 1,000 pieces. What was real? Who was Jack? And how far would the past reach to drag them all down? The house held its breath. The storm was just beginning. The scream ripped through the house, sharp and raw. Emma's legs trembled so hard she nearly collapsed. Jack's grip was tight, too tight, like he was trying to hold himself together through the storm breaking loose around them. They both froze, breath caught, eyes locked on the hallway. Then, from the darkness, a figure appeared. Not a shadow, but a woman, older, thinner than Emma expected. Her eyes were wild, haunted, like someone who'd carried a secret far too long. "You don't know the whole truth," the woman whispered, her voice cracked like old leather. "You think I'm just a ghost waiting to burn this family down? No. I'm the reason it all started." Emma felt her heart drop, a deep cold spreading through her chest. The woman's gaze found Jack's, soft but fierce, like a dam ready to break. "I'm your mother," she said, "but not the one you think you lost, not the one you grew up without." Jack staggered backward, his face draining of blood. "Mom? No, it can't be. She's lying." Jack's father barked, stepping forward, eyes flashing with fury. "You're nothing but a scam, a mistake, a shadow in our perfect story. You ripped him away from his destiny." "No," the woman's voice broke into a sob. "I was forced away. I didn't give him up. Someone took him, sold him, traded him like cattle. But Jack, you're not the son of the Carters. You're the son of a man who destroyed theirs." Emma's head spun. The room seemed to tilt, like the walls themselves shook with the tremors of this revelation. She clutched the letters tighter, suddenly meaningless in her hands. Then from the woman's coat, she pulled out a photograph. A faded, torn picture of a baby. Small, fragile. Not Jack. A different boy. "My other son," the woman gasped. Between tears, eyes locked on Jack. "He died in that fire. He was the true Carter heir. You're the one who came after. The replacement." Jack's breath hitched, lips trembling. No one spoke. The silence was deafening. Suddenly, a door slammed somewhere upstairs. Heavy footsteps thundered down the hall. A second woman appeared, young, fierce, with fire in her eyes. She stopped dead when she saw the scene. "Mom," she whispered. Then, turning to Jack, "You've been living a lie your whole life." Emma's throat tightened so much she could barely breathe. Her dream had shattered. But this was something else entirely. Jack's father laughed, a bitter, cruel sound. That filled the room like poison. "You want lies? You want secrets? I'll tell you the biggest one. Jack, you're not just a replacement. You're the key to everything we've hidden. And if the truth comes out..." A sudden crash from the kitchen made everyone jump. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the house into darkness. A heavy pounding followed, like someone or something was breaking through the walls. Emma's heart hammered in her chest like a trapped bird. Jack grabbed her hand, eyes wild and desperate. "We're not safe here," he whispered. The woman with the wild eyes stepped closer. "They don't want the truth out. Not now, not ever." Then, in the dark, a cold voice cut through the silence. "Jack Carter, your past just caught up with you. But the real nightmare, it's only just begun." Emma's breath caught. The house felt alive with secrets, danger, and lies thicker than blood. Who was the real Jack Carter? And what deadly game had they all been trapped in from the start? The house was swallowed by darkness. The pounding on the walls kept coming, hard, desperate. Like the past was trying to claw its way inside. Emma's chest hammered, breath shallow. Her fingers gripped Jack's the way she clings to a lifeline. But his hand shook too. A sudden crack. Glass shattered somewhere close. All at once, the lights flickered back on. The room snapped into sharp focus, like someone yanked the curtain away. Jack's father stumbled backward, mouth open, eyes wide, like he'd seen a ghost. But the woman, the so-called mother, collapsed to her knees, trembling, clutching the photograph like it was a lifebuoy. Emma's throat tightened, dread crushing her. Then, silence, the kind that crushed your bones. Then, a voice, low, cold, smooth as ice. "Enough!" Everyone turned. The air thickened, charged with something different. From the shadows near the stairs, a figure stepped forward. Jack, but not quite. His face was pale, but his eyes, they were sharp, too sharp, piercing, and behind that a chilling calm that didn't belong to the Jack Emma knew. "I've been here," he said, voice steady but hollow, watching, listening. Emma's breath hitched. "Jack, what are you saying?" He smiled then, not warm, not inviting. "I'm not the boy you married," he said. "Not the son you think I am." A stunned hush fell. Jack's father narrowed his eyes. The woman gasped, clutching at her chest as if struck. Emma felt like the floor had dropped right away. Her hands snipped from Jack's. Her skin prickled. The man before her was a stranger. Who are you?" she whispered, trembling so hard the room wobbled. Jack's eyes glinted. The real Jack Carter never came home that night. The room froze. "After the fire, after my brother died, I took his place." He gestured toward the woman. "She lost her first son. I took him in, raised him as my own. I'm the one they call Jack, but I'm not him. Voices rose, confused, shocked, angry. The daughter, the second woman, stepped forward, eyes wide as saucers. You mean you're an imposter? Jack shook his head slowly. I'm more than that. I'm the dark shadow behind this family's secrets. The one they taught to lie, to protect the lie. That fire didn't just kill a boy, it buried the truth. His stare landed on Emma, softening, but with a ripple of something sharp. I love you, but you married a ghost. Emma's chest contracted so fiercely she gasped. Every word was a blow. His father laughed, horrid and bitter. He's a fraud, a con, nothing but a ghost in our story. Jack's eyes tore toward him. The tension snapped like a wire. No, Jack said, the truth is this. The man you call your son isn't the only lie in this house. He stepped back, eyes cold, voice low, shaking the air. I am the secret, the one. Who remembers everything? The one who made the deal. The one who can end this nightmare. Before anyone could blink, before Emma could breathe, the lights cut out again. A deafening explosion rocked the house. Splinters flew. Dust clouded the room. Then a scream. Not from the woman, not from Jack's family, but from the very walls themselves. Then, silence. When the lights snapped back, the shock was impossible. Jack's father lay slumped against the wall, blood trickling from his temple. The man who was Jack stood over him, one hand curled, the other holding a bloody knife. Emma's heart shattered. Her knees buckled. Tears streamed unbidden. Dad, Jack whispered, voice raw but distant. I didn't want this. No one moved. No one spoke. Emma's world tilted. Who was this man? Her husband? A stranger? Or a monster? The woman's wild eyes locked onto Jack's. Terror scratched deep into her face. Run! She breathed. Before it's too late. Emma looked down at her hands. The letters, the lies, the photograph. Everything, every truth she'd held, was gone. What was real? Who was the real Jack Carter? And how far would the darkness go to protect the lie? Or to bury the truth once and for all? The storm had broken, but the nightmare, it was only beginning. The room was heavy with shock. Jack's father lay still, bleeding slowly, while Jack, the man she thought she knew, stood over him, knife in hand and eyes dark as night. Emma's breath hitched, her legs shaking beneath her. Tears burned like fire on her cheeks. The woman's wild eyes pleaded silently, run. But before she could move, something shattered the tense silence. A slow, deliberate clap echoed down the hall. Everyone froze. From the shadows near the grand staircase stepped a figure, tall and calm, a man Emma had never seen before. His coat was sharp, his smile cold. But what stopped Emma's heart was the unquestionable ease with which he walked into this chaos. Not afraid, not shocked, like he had been waiting. Impressive, the stranger said, voice low and silky. I see the Carter family drama lives up to the rumors. Jack's father opened his eyes, pain twisting his face. Jack didn't lower the knife. Emma's chest tightened. Who are you? She whispered, voice trembling. The stranger stopped. eyes scanning every face like a predator. That's a good question, isn't it? I'm the one who's been pulling the strings in this little nightmare. He smiled slowly, a snake uncoiling. You see, none of this, none of your precious little lies would have come to light without me. A cold rush slid down Emma's spine. The daughter gasped, stepping back. Jack's imposter face darkened. You're lying. Get out. No, no, the stranger said, raising a hand. I'm exactly where I should be, after all. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a thin envelope, old, worn, and stamped with hospital insignias. This, he said, voice heavy, is the real truth. The hospital records. Not just about Jack, but about all of you. Emma snatched the envelope, hands trembling so hard she nearly dropped it. She tore it open. Her eyes scanned, widening in horror. This isn't... It can't be. Jack stepped forward, voice low, wider. You're not just hiding a swapped son. You're hiding twins. 2 boys born that night. Emma blinked, confusion crushing her chest. Twins? What does that mean? The stranger's eyes gleamed. It means, he said, voice slicing through the air, Jack is neither the stolen son nor the replacement. He is the wrong twin. The dark twin. The one disappeared after the fire. The one erased from every record. The woman gasped, wild eyes suddenly filled with terror. Emma's mind spun with the weight of the words. You mean... she stammered. The stranger nodded slowly. The boy who died in that fire wasn't the first son. It was his brother, the one you all forgot. Because Jack is the one who survived that night. But nobody wanted him. Not his real parents, not this town. They buried him in lies, buried his identity. Silence fell like a hammer. Jack's father coughed, voice weak. Don't listen to him. He's a thief, a liar. Enough, Jack said, voice raw with pain. I don't know who I am anymore. Emma looked into his eyes. The fear, the pain. A man lost inside a nightmare not his own. But the stranger stepped closer, voice soft, cruel. And one last secret, he whispered. Jack isn't just the lost twin. He's the one. The Carters blamed for everything. The arson, the scandal, the disgrace. The dead son story? A lie. The fire was set to cover up him. Emma gasped, heart pounding like a drum. Jack's mother collapsed against the wall, pale as death. Why? Emma whispered. The stranger shrugged. Because the town, the family, they didn't want him. They twisted the truth to erase him. And now here he stands, unmasked. Jack's grip on Emma's hand tightened for a flicker. But then, in the distance, the old grandfather clock chimed midnight. A door slammed somewhere upstairs, and the lights flickered, once, twice, and went out for good. The house groaned. The nightmare, it was far from over. Who was the real Jack Carter? And how deep did this darkness go? Emma's heart screamed for answers, but all she found was silence. The house was silent, swallowed by darkness and thick with tension. Emma's heart pounded wildly, each beat echoing like a drum against the heavy walls. She stood frozen, the cold gripping her skin, breath uneven and shallow. The last chime of midnight still lingered like a warning, hanging in the air. Then, a sudden click. The lights flickered back on, but everything had changed. Emma blinked, her eyes scanning the room. Faces stared back, confused, scared, angry. But something was off. Jack's father wasn't bloodied or slumped. He stood straight, eyes sharp and fierce, like he'd just woken from a long nightmare. Jack's imposter face twisted, but before he could speak, his father raised a hand. "Enough lies," he said, voice cold and hard, "because the biggest lie is the one you've all been hiding from me." A bitter laugh rippled through the room. Jack's mother, the wild-eyed woman, stared, breath hitching. The stranger by the stairs shifted, suddenly alert. Emma's hands trembled. "What are you saying?" Jack's father's eyes burned into each of them. "You think I was gone all these years, running? No, I was trapped." A beat of silence. Then the walls seemed to close in as the old man stepped forward, face paling as he spoke through clenched teeth. "I never left. The fire, it wasn't an accident. It was me who set it. But not to hide a scandal. To save my family. To stop the darkness inside." Gasps burst from the crowd. Jack's face twisted, rage and disbelief crashing over him like a storm. "You're insane." "No," his father said, voice breaking, haunted. "I'm the reason this nightmare began. I lost my mind. I wanted it all to end." Emma's throat tightened, chest sinking like lead. A stranger stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "You mean to say you? The man we blamed for disgrace, we're the one who fired this entire tragedy?" Jack's father nodded slowly, voice barely a whisper. "Yes, and I hid in this house the truth about Jack." The room spun. Emma gripped the letters tight, each word suddenly meaningless. Then a low groan came from the corner, and all eyes darted to the floor, where, half hidden in shadow, a figure stirred. Slowly, painfully, a man pushed himself up. Blood smeared his clothes, his face bruised, but those eyes, Emma gasped. Blood hit her stomach like a physical blow. It was Jack, the real Jack. His voice was ragged but clear. "I've been here all along." A second shock froze them. "Room! How? Why?" Jack's eyes fixed on his father, full of pain, betrayal, and something terrifyingly cold. "You buried me alive that night." Emma's world shattered. Her knees buckled. The room tilted, crashing into chaos, as the man once called an imposter moved forward, his real face, real pain cutting through the shadows. Jack's father's calm cracked, voice sharp as broken glass. "You are no son of mine." The real Jack's voice was ice. "I'm the son you abandoned. The truth you locked away, and the nightmare you created." Emma's chest sheared open, breath lost. The fake Jack stepped back, eyes wide, disbelief bleeding into panic. The stranger smiled darkly, voice low. "Ladies and gentlemen, the family of Carters just broke apart at the seams." Emma's gaze flicked between the two Jacks. Two men claiming one identity, two souls tangled in lies, pain, and terror. Her world wasn't just cracked, it was ripped wide open. And in that moment, Emma knew nothing was true anymore. Who was the real Jack Carter? And who was the shadow waiting to claim his place? The house groaned again. But this time, the walls weren't the only things breaking. Emma's heart screamed. The nightmare was far from over. And now, it was impossible to tell if anyone would survive the truth. The air hung, thick with tension, suffocating and sharp. Emma's chest convulsed so hard she could barely catch a breath. Two Jacks, one real, one ghost, all tangled in the same broken story. The room spun, faces blurred, voices choked into silence. Then, a sudden crack echoed from the ceiling. Dust fell like dry rain. Everyone looked up. The old, creaky beams above them groaned, dangerous, strained. Before anyone could react, a heavy crash tore through the hall. The floor beneath them shattered. A gaping hole opened wide, swallowing the father, the stranger, even the fake Jack in one terrifying gulp. Emma staggered back, heart slammed against her ribs. Screams burst loose. Dad, Jack's real voice cracked, desperate as he reached out. But hands met nothing but air. The house trembled, groaned as if it was alive and furious. Emma's legs buckled, and she slid against the wall, mouth dry, tears burning hot and silent. In that chaos, a shrill scream sliced the air, sharp, wild, echoing from the basement. Without thinking, Emma twisted her head toward the dark stairwell. Jack, pale and unsteady, darted toward it, calling out, "Emma, down here! Hurry!" The room snapped to motion. Everyone followed, hearts pounding, feet pounding down the cold wooden steps. The basement was a cold, shadowed cavern. Smell of damp earth and rot thick in the air. There, under a flickering bulb, they found her. A young woman, bound, gagged, eyes wide with terror. Her clothes torn, hands raw and bruised. "Thank God!" Emma gasped, rushing forward, kneeling to pull the gag free. The woman's voice was hoarse. "They lied to you," she whispered. "All of it. A web spun to hide this. The real crime." Jack's eyes locked onto hers, stormy, desperate. "Who? You?" he demanded. The woman swallowed hard. "My name is Lily," she breathed. "I'm your sister." The word hit like lightning. Emma's head snapped up. Silence slammed into her like a brick wall. "No," Jack whispered. "That's not possible." Lily's gaze was fierce, burning with raw truth. "I was taken the night of the fire, hidden away, made into a secret no one talks about." She struggled against her bindings as if fighting years of chains. "The fire, it wasn't just about the brothers. It was to erase me." The room trembled again. Jack's father, hanging from the broken floor above, groaned faintly. But then, something worse. Lily pulled from inside her torn jacket a small, rusted box. She flipped it open. Inside, vials of strange liquid, yellow documents, photographs, proof of experiments, horrors. Emma's stomach roiled. Jack's face blanched. What is that?" Emma breathed. Lily's voice cracked open the nightmare, wider. "This house, this family, built on lies, on secrets darker than you ever imagined." Her eyes flicked to Jack. "They tried to change me. A twisted plan to create the perfect heir, to control the Carter's bloodline." Jack staggered back, hands shaking. This can't be real." But Emma saw it, the glint in Lily's eyes, the fire of truth blazing through the ruin. Suddenly, a cold, mechanical hum filled the room. The basement door slammed shut behind them. Darkness pressed in. Jack's voice barely a whisper. "What have we gotten into?" Emma's heart hammered wild. Something monstrous crawled out of the shadows. And the nightmare wasn't just a family secret anymore. It was alive, and it was hunting them. Who had sent Lily? What was the twisted history buried beneath the Carter name? And how far would the darkness go to keep the truth locked away and the family broken forever? The basement lights flickered once, twice, then plunged the entire house into crushing, endless black. Emma's last thought was raw and sharp. They were trapped, and no one was who they thought they were. The darkness pressed in like a fist around them. Emma's skin crawled, every nerve on fire, breath sharp in her throat. The basement smelled like cold earth and old secrets, shadows twisting in, corners that had never seen light. The only sound was the hum, the steady, mechanical pulse that wrapped around them, tight and relentless. Jack's voice broke the silence. "We need to find a way out!" But then, a sudden clang rang out, metal against stone. The basement door slammed shut again, hard, final. Emma's heart leapt, trapped like a bird in a cage. Panic welled up, burning her chest. She turned, eyes wild, searching for anything that could be a weapon or a way out. "Stay calm," she whispered, but her own voice trembled. Lily struggled harder against her bindings, face pale but fierce. "They want this kept hidden. They'll come. For us, we have to move, now." Jack reached into his jacket but stopped, eyes fixed on something behind Emma. A soft, wet cough echoed from the darkness beyond the flimsy bulb's reach. Everyone stiffened. Then, a sickly pale hand appeared, clawing at the cracked wall. Emma's breath hitched. "What the hell?" From the shadows, a figure crawled forward, dragging itself painfully toward the weak light. Bit by bit, the shape became clear. It was Jack, but not the Jack they'd known. This man's skin was ghostly white, lips torn and bleeding, his eyes sunken, haunted, burning with a fury that chilled Emma's bones. My son," Jack's father, croaked from the broken floor above, voice ragged like broken glass. The real Jack snarled, every muscle trembling. "You left me to rot, buried alive, forgotten." Emma gasped, staggering back. Her heart felt like it shattered again, a brutal, jagged pain slicing through her. Then the figure's eyes locked on hers, hot, desperate. "No one's told you the worst, not even Lily." Emma's throat closed tight. Before anyone could blink, Jack lunged forward with savage strength, grabbing the rusted box from Lily's hands. "I'm done with their lies." His voice cracked, sharp and dangerous. Suddenly, the box snapped open on the floor. Vials shattered, liquid hissed, and a thick, choking smoke rose fast, green, weird, curling like poison. Emma coughed, clawing at her throat, tears stinging her eyes. Lily shouted, panic ripping her voice. "No, that's not supposed to happen!" The smoke grew thick, faces blurred, voices twisted into screams and cries. Emma's knees gave out. She felt cold fingers wrap around her wrist. Jack, this broken man, pulled her close. Then, a chilling whisper drifted through the haze. "Look deeper, Emma." Her eyes burned through the smoke, out beyond the tears, and then it hit her, an edge seared in her mind like a brand. Jack's real face, shifting, twisting. Not one face, two, impossible, split in two different ways. Emma gasped. The man holding her whispered, voice almost gentle, but deadly. "There's more than one Jack in this nightmare." Her blood ran ice cold. Suddenly, the lights flickered back. Not the weak basement bulb, but a harsh, clinical glow. The walls melted away. The basement was gone. They stood in a sterile white room filled with machines, needles dripping, monitors beeping cold and steady. And strapped to a chair, his face pale but unmistakably alive, was a third man. Identical to both Jacks. Alive, watching, blurring the line between nightmare and truth. Emma's voice failed. Her heart tore. The woman with wild eyes looked away. Horror cracked across her face. Jack's father whispered, voice failing, "They made us, Frankenstein's family." A cold new terror wrapped its claws around them. Emma needed one answer, but instead all she could ask was, how many Jacks were trapped in this house? And how deep did the twisted truth go? The nightmare had just spawned its darkest secret yet. The cold white room buzzed with machines, the hum thick and suffocating. Emma's heart pounded, fast, ragged, like it wanted out. Her eyes locked on the third man strapped to the chair, still, watching, breathing harsh and shallow through cracked lips. Jack, the one standing, looked shattered. His eyes were glass, empty but burning. Emma barely recognized him anymore. Then, without warning, the monitors flickered, beeping wildly, alarms screaming sharp and raw. Everyone jumped, startled. The chair clicked. Metal straps groaned. The third man twitched. His head rolled slowly, like a puppet's on loose strings. A sudden, chilling smile spread across that pale face. "Hello, Emma." The voice slithered from cracked lips, cold, sinister, mocking. Emma froze, her breath caught. What?" she stammered. The man's smile deepened. "You don't know it yet, but it's time." Before she could blink, the chair lurched forward, yanking the man free. Eyes blazing, he stepped into the weak light. But the shock hit hard. This man was not Jack. Not the Jack she'd met, not the imposter or the real one. This man's eyes were pitch black, empty pools swallowing light. His grin stretched too wide, too cruel. Then, with a sudden snap, his jaw unhinged, revealing sharp, unnatural teeth. A low, guttural growl curled from deep in his throat. The room froze harder than ice. Emma's chest crushed tight. Her legs trembled under a weight she didn't understand. Jack's real face twisted in horror. He took a step back, voice a broken whisper. That's impossible." The wild-eyed woman gasped, clutching her chest. Lily's hands shook so badly, the rusted box nearly fell. "Emma, run," she begged, eyes wide with terror. But Emma's body refused. Cold sweat slicked her skin. Her throat clenched. Something ancient and dark crawled beneath her ribs. The black-eyed man stepped toward them, slow, deliberate. His voice, when it came, was a raspy whisper that cut through the chaos. "I've been inside your story, watching your pain, feeding on more fear." Emma's mind scrambled. Feeding? Watching? The strangers around her drew back, whispers swelling like a storm. Jack let out a strangled sound, stumbling over to her side. "No, this can't be real. This is—" Suddenly, the black-eyed man lunged. But instead of striking, he stopped, inches from Emma's face, fingers brushy, cold as death. "I am the truth you feared," he hissed. "The darkness born from this family's sins, the shadow in your soul." Jack screamed, charging the creature, only for the figure to vanish with an eerie, hollow laugh. The lights flickered violently, casting the room into a strobe of white and black. Emma's heart slammed against her ribs. The world seemed unreal, a nightmare stitched with razor blades. Then, silence. And then, a soft beep from the monitors, the beeping of a heart stopping. Emma spun. The third man was collapsed on the floor, the life drained from his eyes, the eyes she once thought were Jack's. The wild-eyed woman held her, breath sinking to her knees. Jack's real self collapsed beside the body, shaking, tears spilling in frantic rivers. Emma's hands trembled so hard she dropped the letters, the photographs, the rusted box. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Who? What was that?" Jack looked up, vacant. "That thing wasn't a man. It's us. The nightmare we never saw. The darkness bred within this family, waiting to claim us all." Emma's chest tightened so fast her ribs ached. Sudden pounding echoed through the room, the heavy steps of someone or something coming. The basement door slammed open. A figure appeared. Not a stranger this time, but a child. Thin, pale, eyes, too, old for his face. He stepped forward, holding something wrapped in dirty cloth. Emma's breath hitched. He looked right at her. "I've been waiting," he whispered. And then he dropped the cloth. Inside was a small, cracked mirror. But when Emma looked, she didn't see her reflection. She saw Jack, twisted, fractured, but also herself, shattered too. And the mirror cracked again, splintering the truth into pieces no one wanted to face. Who are you?" Emma's voice barely reached the walls. The boy smiled then, cold and infinite. "I am the last Carter, the one you forgot, the reason none of you are free." Emma's chest froze. Fear exploded inside her. Like wildfire. The nightmare wasn't ending. It was beginning all over. And now, even she didn't know who to trust. Not Jack, not the family, not even herself. The room felt frozen, breath caught in every throat. Emma's hands trembled as the cracked mirror lay between them, shards glinting like broken promises. The pale boy, the last Carter, held that strange smile, cold as ice. "I am what you tried to forget," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "The shadow beneath your souls." Jack's real eyes flicked to Emma, pain and confusion storming behind the glass. Emma's chest tightened, hope and fear colliding. The house groaned again, as if warning them. The nightmare was still alive, gnawing at what remained. Suddenly, Lily pulled at her bindings, desperate. "You have to listen. I have proof. Answers hidden deep in the farm's old barn. It's our only chance." Emma's heart thundered. The truth wasn't buried. It was breathing. Jack, shaking, nodded, voice low but fierce. "We end this now, together." The boy dropped the cracked mirror and vanished into the shadows. Vanished, but not gone. The echo of his words lingered in the air like poison. They raced through the creaking halls, past the broken floor, toward the barn, swallowed by night. The air grew sharp, cold, voices whispering in the dark like ghosts. Inside the barn, old crates spilled secrets, a dusty chest heavy with locks. Emma's fingers found a rusted key taped to the underside of a beam. Heart pounding, she opened it. Inside were journals, hidden photos, and a faded tape recorder. Emma pressed play. A rough voice trembled through the silence. It was Jack's mother. She spoke of love, loss, and the terrible choice to hide the truth to save them all. The real Jack was buried alive, yes, but to protect him, to keep him safe from those who wanted him gone. The family's darkness wasn't evil alone, but fear and sacrifice. Emma's tears blurred the recorder's light. Jack gripped her hand, voice cracking. "We can heal. We can be more than this nightmare." Then a sudden sound, footsteps pounding behind them. The last Carter boy waned back in the shadows, voice sharp and cruel. "You think this ends with your love? The darkness doesn't die. It waits." Emma's breath hitched. Jack stood tall, menacing, calm, burning in his eyes. "No more lies," he said. The boy's laughter echoed. But then, silence. Emma looked to Jack. The dawn was breaking. Light creeping slow, soft, chasing the long night away. Their world wasn't perfect. Never would be. But for the first time, hope cracked through the shadows. Emma whispered, voice raw but sure, "We fight together." The house creaked, groaned, still holding its secrets tight. But Emma knew this. The nightmare was waking, ready or not, and they would face it together. You need to subscribe now and hit that red button so you don't miss a single second of the stories that'll blow your mind next. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to get us noticed. I want to flood the comments with your reactions and wild theories. Tell me, what do you think happens next? And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who have to. See this finale. Only real fans get how important this is. Let's make some noise together. If you like stories about farmers, the ups and downs of life on the farm, and want to uncover what really happens behind the biggest farm gates in the world, the secret lives of the richest families, and the hidden stories of farm girls the media never tells, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click the first link in the video comments and get yours now. You need to watch this now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait another second to share.